Joining us, Donald Trump's national spokeswoman, Katrina Pearson, Republican strategist Lanhee Chen, who advised Mitt Romney and Marco Rubio's campaigns, and national spokesman for Senator Ted Cruz, Ron Nearing. Thanks one and all for joining me. Ron, let me start with you because Senator Ted Cruz is on the stump today attacking Donald Trump for being, quote, too PC, for saying that Caitlyn Jenner can use whatever bathroom she likes when she visits Trump Tower. Cruz says that grown men should not be in bathrooms with little girls. That was his response. So explain to me exactly what the position is here, that individuals like Caitlyn Jenner should be forced to use the men's room?
No, I think the issue here is what happens at our high schools and our elementary schools and the like across the country, particularly in the case of North Carolina, which exercised its rights to enact legislation aimed at clarifying this particular issue. This has been an issue in my state as well. People are very, very concerned, about the prospect of having grown adult men in the girls' locker room and bathroom at school and the like. That's something that many people find offensive and inappropriate.
Has this ever happened that you know of in California or anywhere, a transgender individual in a girl's room harassing a girl? Has it ever happened?
Well, this is an issue which is being addressed on a state-by-state level. Different laws are being phrased in different ways. Part of the issue in my state where this has been debated in California is that of, can anybody simply walk into any restroom of any gender at all, even in the girls' locker room or the girls' bathroom at school and the like, and that in itself is the issue here, and that's what's not appropriate.
Okay.
What Donald Trump chooses to do at Trump Tower, which is a private building and a private facility, is up to him. But the question is whether at public schools, that grown men should be in the girls' locker room.
Okay.
That's inappropriate.
I didn't actually hear an example cited there, but let's move on. Katrina, North Carolina passed a law restricting the bathroom use of transgendered individuals. This is obviously causing a huge uproar. Companies are refusing to do business in the state of North Carolina, and Donald Trump pointed out there's not much evidence of problems with transgender people using restrooms of the gender in which they identify. Do you see this, does the Trump campaign see this as a civil rights issue?
Well, let me just clarify. Donald Trump does not believe that Caitlyn Jenner is a threat to any woman in a restroom, number one. And number two, this is a local issue. A lot of these instances are happening in schools because they're taking federal money, and that's why this is happening. Mr. Trump, what he said today was that he did support Caitlyn Jenner going into the restroom of her choice, but this is what happens with these types of laws. And I'd be curious to know where the Cruz campaign really stands on this, because you're talking about a constitutional conservative campaign that wants to create laws to prevent crimes that are already rendered as crimes, when essentially what you're doing is creating criminals for those women who want to use the empty men's restroom when the women's restrooms line are too long. So I'm really curious on how you squared the constitutionality of a law like that.
Let me just bring in Lanhee because we're running out of time and I want to bring you in. I know this is not the issue necessarily that you woke up thinking that you were going to come on CNN and talk about, but these are the two front runners of the Republican race right now. What do you make of it all?
Well, I think for Senator Cruz, it's an interesting opportunity for him to actually pivot this discussion to something that Republican voters may actually care about, not the bathrooms, but the Supreme Court, and saying, look, this is going to be an issue that's going to be litigated. I'm a constitutional conservative. I'm the one who's going to be trustworthy on judges. So it's a very interesting move for him. The Trump campaign came out of New York. They did well in New York. Now they're talking about 1,400 delegates. That's not going to happen. You and I have both seen these campaign memos that throw out these crazy numbers. But at the end of the day, for Cruz to try to control this discussion, I actually think is pretty smart.
Let me just give you the last word here, Katrina. 1,400 delegates, that's a math that a lot of people who are counting the delegates find a bridge too far.
Well, I'm sure they do, but this is our goal, and we're very confident that we're going to reach 1237 prior to the convention. We are making the case right now to the RNC, whereas the other campaigns are telling delegates and the RNC that they should go with a candidate that can't simply win. Whereas we're showing that we have the votes, we've won the contest, we're bringing in the new voters, we are winning Hispanics in these states, beating Senator Ted Cruz, by the way, in Arizona, Florida, New York, Nevada. We are the campaign that can beat Hillary in November, and Donald Trump is the candidate to get it done.
And Ron, last word.
At the end of the day, Donald Trump's internal memo about getting to 1,400 may as well be 14,000. It's simply not going to happen if we go through state by state as to what's coming up. We're going to go ultimately to a contested convention, which just means that the voting will go a couple more hours, a couple hours longer than it would otherwise. And everybody knows that when it goes past one ballot, that on the second ballot, Donald Trump is never in a million years going to get more votes than on the first ballot, and he's never going to
Not
be
everybody.
the Republican nominee. That's why he's flipping out. That's why he says all these bizarre, weird things. He has to attack everybody else over the fact that he's lost 5 states in a row leading up
Okay.
into New York. He knows he's not going to become
you,
the
Ron.
nominee because he's not going to get on the first ballot. Thanks.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Katrina. Thank you, Lonnie. Appreciate it. Back